All right, perfect. Let's get going. It is 10:04. We got quite a few news to go over. Probably some discussions that you guys are gonna have about some of the new stuff. So, good morning, happy Monday. Hope you all had a great weekend. I was in and out of seminars on Saturday and yesterday too. So I haven't had a break, but this weekend I should be able to kick back and relax a little bit. Hope you guys were able to refresh on the weekend. I know I saw some of you guys going out for showings and listings and stuff, so that's cool. I'll have to find a way to make sure that I'm letting people in. So I'm going to let's see here. Alrighty, so CPI, Consumer Price Index. Pretty much that's what we're kind of waiting for is for inflation to scale downward so that rates can follow. Not only the mortgage rates, but the federal funds rate as well. Consumer Price Index came in at 0.3% month over month, which was below expectations of 0.4%, and came down from 3.5 to 3.4%. And core CPI, which is basically CPI without food and energy, since those are so volatile month over month, it also lowered from 3.8% to 3.6%. So we got some okay progress on the Consumer Price Index, which gave us a great day for rates last week. We're now at the 6.5 coupon. Doesn't mean that rates are at 6.5. It just means that that's the coupon that Wall Street's on, where they were at the 7% before. I can tell you right now, on average, rates are
let me just say this right.
On FHA, rates are about 6.5, give or take 6.75, and then conventional, you're probably going to be at about 7.25 to 7.5. So rates are kind of coming down because before that,
make sure that everything is staying up to date. Okay. Can I go through the training and start getting listings?
Go. All right, PPI, which is Producer Price Index, came in at 0.5% month over month, which we know PPI measures the change of goods on the wholesale level. However, there was a drastic revision to last month's number, which helped this one. So even though this month came in at 0.5% Producer Price Index, last month's initial number was 0.2, and the actual number after the revision was negative 0.1%. So the high PPI number here is skewed because of last month's revision. Doesn't hurt us as much as it probably would have had that 0.2 stayed. With that 0.5, it would have showed inflation increasing in 2 months at 0.7%. So we got saved on that end. Guys, the National Association of Home Builders came out with their building sentiment for May. And remember, this is a scale from 0 to 100, where anything above 50 means they're looking to build, and anything below 50 signals contraction. We talk about this number every single month. We had it go above 50 in what was last month's reading? I mean, last month's reading we're in May. So I think last month's reading was April, then March. So I think February was when the first time it went above 50. It was either February or March. It's been above 50 the last couple months. The number came back for last month showing the low. The number came in at 45. So it signals contraction. And this is in huge part to buyer traffic continuing to wind down within new construction homes. So in that same report, we usually don't talk about it. We only talk about that overall number, but in that report, it'll talk about even buyer traffic, where that number lies between 0 to 100. For this month, it was at 30. Okay, so obviously the less people that you're getting into purchase new development, the less you're going to want to actually start to build that out on your end. So permits are down 2% year over year for new construction homes. Housing starts are down 0.6% year over year. Construction is down 3.9% year over year, but they're completing homes at a much higher pace, which is the last step, obviously, when it comes to building, new development. So this could mean new construction homes are sitting longer than they expect. I don't think new home builds show a sentiment to what South Florida market looks like, because we don't have much land down here, as opposed to the other states like, Georgia, Texas, where new builds are rampant, or not rampant, but more apparent, I would say, in those places that have a lot of land. And they're probably feeling a lot of pain on the builder side of things. You know, I don't think, like I mentioned, there's barely any builds here or anywhere to build here. There's a Lennar, Miami Gardens, there's one in Opalaka. So very places to build. So in South Florida, I don't think that sentiment is the same because of that reason. It could be in those bigger states where you have probably have more builds happening and more of them are staying on the market because I think the completions was like we're up 14% year over year on housing completions. Mortgage applications were down 2% and they're now down 14% year over year. Remember, these numbers are important to see how many people are applying for mortgages compared to last year, especially considering that last year was looked at as the worst year for mortgage originations in history. I think we went over that chart earlier this year where I showed you guys we were down even worse than the financial crisis 07, 08 in terms of the amount of mortgage originations that were done last year. And this year being lower means 2024 is competing for the worst spot. So look at that. All right, so now into kind of new news that came out in the market, UWM. Okay, UWM, for those of you guys don't know, is a wholesale lender that pretty much partners up with mortgage brokers, okay? And they've been providing a lot of different programs and tools in the past few months to try to help out brokers and assisting their clients as well. They came out with two pieces of news last week, or two different programs. One of them being the Track Plus program, where they cut out title insurers for refinances. And the buyer can essentially pay a flat fee of $1,850 for the title portion to refinance. Now, I spoke about the CFPB already discussing the possibility of this, of not having title insurance for refinances, because it does make sense if you're the owner, if you were the owner when you purchased, right? Title insurance, it works backwards, right? Meaning that your insurance when you were purchasing a home for the first time, your title insurance ensures that there's nothing that's there's no encumbrances on that property, right? From before you purchased it. So from the beginning of time that property was built up until the day that you close, there's nothing lingering on that property. And your title insurance, your initial title insurance insures you for as long as you're the owner. However, whenever you refinance, as long as you have a copy of your owner's title policy, you're okay, but you still have to pay lender's title insurance during refinances, which the CFPB is looking to clear as well, because it's the same owner. Nothing has changed, right? You're the same person that signed when you purchased. It makes sense to get rid of that. So it looks like UWM is kind of jumping the gun on that with their Track Plus program and kind of, wiping out the title companies from having to do the title work. UWM or the lender will be doing their own title work as well. I wonder how that's going to work on a local level for UWM being a national company. That's going to be interesting to kind of see how that plays out over time, but I guess we'll see, right? They also announced a 0 down payment assistance program up to $15,000 as a 0% interest second mortgage, very similar to Florida Bond and Hometown Heroes, okay? It's a 0% second mortgage, no monthly payments. You're going to pay it back whenever you refi sell the property. Very, very simple. It looks like they're trying to compete in that aspect or in that sense, where the buyer will get 3% up to $15,000 in assistance. Now, the catch is that you need to be 80% area median income or below, and we know that it doesn't work so much in South Florida. That would mean the buyer would have to make less than $70,000 a year, okay? So it's a great program on the surface when you're just looking at the promotions of it, but ask that loan officer that is advertising it, what's the fine line? Because it happens all the time. It happened with Genoa Fund when people were advertising 100% financing, then the buyer applies and they realize that it's a shit program. With Hometown Heroes will also come the age of no compensation being advertised on the MLS, right? July 1st, Hometown Heroes, July 1st, no buyer's agent compensations on the MLS. So it's going to be a very competitive summer with you all possibly having to fight for every dollar for you and your client. A good way to do this is possibly submitting your offer with a credit for your compensation ahead of time so that you guys can start negotiating up front with the seller. I read an article about this and I pretty much wanted to tell you guys, I think that would probably be a good strategy. I know that you guys are already working in your buyer's brokerage agreements and talking to your brokers and figuring out ways to be able to do that for the buyer on your end. being able to negotiate that with the purchase price already there, whether you have to increase that purchase price a little bit, or anything like that upfront could help as well. The only problem that I would see, especially in the South Florida market, is a lot of properties, they tend to try to be slightly overpriced above market. So that way they get those negotiations going. And that could be where, you know, if you're adding an extra $10,000-15,000 on there, it may not appraise. So just kind of being very careful, walking that fine line. But I would tell you guys, use us as a resource as much as possible. Okay, that's what I'm here for. Right? We tell you guys all the time, I tell your clients all the time, we'll run numbers for you guys, CC me on the offer so I can call the listing agents, and edify the client, edify you, and make sure that we get that property under contract. There's a lot of times where, you know, I'm not CC'd in offers. I don't know that there was an offer submitted and we're not able to edify, right? A lot of listing agents, most of the time that we get our offers picked is because we actually call the agent. A lot of other loan officers don't do that. So that's why I say try to CC me in those offers so that I can help you guys as much as possible, because it's going to be a tough summer, right? It's not just the 20 agents in here only doing Hometown Heroes. It's all of the state of Florida doing Hometown Heroes, and all the state of Florida dealing with the same buyer brokerage agreement issues across the line. So that's something that I wanted to tell you guys. And then lastly, before we go, by the way, when you guys are looking to purchase a prime, or when the buyer is looking to purchase a primary residence, right, they essentially can purchase a primary residence as long as it's not 100 miles or more. Why do I bring this up? If they work in Broward, they can essentially buy in Port St. Lucie, and as a primary residence, now they have to drive about an hour and a half every single day to work, and that's something that the client is going to have to come to terms with. But you're going to get more money, more bang for your buck driving up there or anywhere in between those cities from Broward to Port St. Lucie. So just keep that in mind when your client is looking for something and they only qualify for 350 or 325, that they can go up north a little bit. They can do the trek. You know, the drive may suck for them, but they're going to get a much better house for the price point that they're at. Do you guys have any questions or anything like that? I know today or yesterday was Fannie Mae was updating the area median income across the board. Hometown Heroes has not updated it yet, obviously because it's probably, you know, just 10 a.m. on the next day. However, probably this week we should have the updated income limits for Hometown Heroes, Florida Bond, and everything like that. So we'll most likely know next week on the Monday Mortgage Minute what they look like. My guess, just by estimating what Broward County did with their homebuyer purchase assistance program, is that Broward's going to end up right around where Miami-Dade is, which is about 155, 156 for this year. And Miami-Dade, I'd have to look. I don't know what their updated AMI is, but I'll tell you guys for Broward, it's probably going to be at about 155, 156. But we'll know for sure that number, hopefully this week.
Hello. I'm working out. Huh?
Hey, anybody have any questions?
Thank you. Thank you. Bianca.
Hi, Mike. This is Sabrina. I have a question.
Ma'am.
Regarding the condos, is there like a particular, I know at one time you had a list out of condos that had reserves and what they're requiring to get in as far as like the 20% down and them having reserves. Would you still happen to have an updated list on the condominiums in Broward
The one
County?
for Broward. Yeah, so basically I have the full list of Fannie Mae approved condos in Broward. That was updated earlier this year, so there could be a few of them that ended up turning or becoming unavailable for whatever reason. I'm going to bring that point up very, very shortly. But in short, I can send you over the ones that were Fannie Mae approved when we did the list for Broward. That way you have that and you have at least a guide of what you can look for, because on those you'll be able to do low down payment, 3-5% down, conventional without a problem.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah,
I would appreciate that.
I got you, Sabrina. If you can, just shoot me an email after. That way I can just forward it over to you directly.
Okay, will do. Thank you.
No problem. What's up, Gina? Happy Monday. Good morning.
Happy Monday. Good morning. I had a quick question about workforce housing. Can that be coupled with the multiple different products that is out, like the $15,000 program you just mentioned, or Hometown Heroes, or is Workhouse housing its own type of, program and
Yeah.
has its limitation?
So Hometown Heroes is its own program itself, right? The only way that workforce housing, that's gonna be a completely different program, right? The only time you're gonna see Hometown Heroes do anything with any sort of other program is if, for instance, like a Miami-Dade down payment assistance or Broward down payment assistance is willing to subordinate their lien position on the mortgage that they give, which I know Miami-Dade is. Broward typically would do on a case-by-case basis, but there's cities within Broward that don't, cities within Miami that don't, so it just depends.
Thank you. So basically, house by house situation.
So that program is gonna be completely different. I was just giving you like scenarios on when you would see that is when somebody else is willing to subordinate. But that workforce housing program is gonna be completely like its own thing.
Okay, all right. Thank you so much.
No problem. Really quick before we go, because Sabrina did remind me something within her question. So Fannie Mae's condo portal, okay? Originally, when it came out, lenders were required to report every condo that they approved and were not required to report every condo they denied. This is very important for you guys to know. They are now required to report every condo that they deny. So if there's a condo that goes through some sort of review by a lender, Bank of America, Chase, these lenders that don't like to do condos, if they go through a review and Chase denies them, Chase will have to report it to Fannie Mae, and that will be put on the unavailable list. So it makes financing condos now much tougher. I'm pretty sure Chase was doing it before, Bank of America was doing it before, but now the fact that every lender has to report when they don't approve a condo is going to make it much more difficult because even though Fannie Mae tells us that we only need master insurance policy, a lot of lenders still will go through that full review and still try to pinpoint and find something and dig up something. Do they have to state why since they all have different parameters? Yes, they do. So they'll basically state, this one's denied because of the research, safety structural issues, which is most of the time what it is. This one's denied because of insurance, which I've seen in the past. So it does depend. They do have to state why so that way when we're looking at trying to get it overturned, we know, okay, this was denied because of the recertification. So the agent's going to go out and say, hey, ask the listing agent, hey, is the recertification done? Has it been approved? And then that way we get that documentation, assuming, we're trying to do the loan within that building. And then we send it over to Fannie Mae. Fannie Mae takes 5 days before they respond to us about if they will switch the condo from being unavailable to what we call no Fannie Mae review. So it does take some time, and they are Fannie Mae, so it's not like we can rush them. But yeah, if we know the reason why it was denied and we know that the association has fixed it, then we'll be able to send it to Fannie Mae for review to be able to do our own full review on the condo. Any other questions? Any other scenarios that you guys came across last week?
Mike, I had a quick question. Maybe I missed this part. You said the UVM or UWM, the other down payment assistance program that they have for the $15,000. Do you know if it's stackable or what position that they would require to be in on the mortgage?
Great question. I don't know that because it just came out and it's with UWM. I could probably tell you with a lot of confidence that they're not going to subordinate. And they'll be second lien position, very similar to Hometown Heroes and Florida Bond. Florida Housing Finance Corporation, they don't subordinate. A lot of these down payment assistance programs do not. The only ones that you see budge are the county ones, the government, the actual local municipality ones that will typically, subordinate to be able to stack. I'm pretty sure the only way to stack the The UWM one will be, if the other down payment assistance program is willing to subordinate. Now, if you're asking if you could do UWM and Hometown Heroes, I can tell you no. Because
Okay.
UWM is gonna be the one that does that program themselves. Hometown Heroes goes to a specific investor, right? So if UWM is giving a down payment assistance, that means that UWM is the one that is servicing that loan after it closes. Hometown Heroes has its own investor called Lakeview that is the one that services the loan. So you're not going to be able to combine the two.
Okay, thank you.
No problem.
Mike, one more question before you leave. I must have came on late. The UWM, is that another assistant program? Could you explain a little bit about what that is?
Yeah, so UWM, United Wholesale Mortgage, basically they are a wholesale lender that services mortgage brokers. So it wouldn't pertain to me specifically. I'm just letting you guys know what the program is that's out there and how it works and how other lenders are going to advertise it and utilize it. But basically, UWM being a wholesale lender, they came out with a program that is a very similar to Florida Bond Hometown Heroes, where it's a 0% interest second mortgage that will give the client 3% up to $15,000 of down payment assistance, and that person has to be 80% area median income or below. So basically, in Miami-Dade and Broward, they cannot make more than $70,000 a year. So it's a good program, surface level, but we know a lot of clients in this climate, you can't really purchase if you're not two people on the application making $100-something thousand a year.
Is that only for first-time home buyers?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Any other questions for me, guys? No, we good? All right, so I'll see you guys next week. Hopefully this week we get the updated income limits for July 1st, so that way we can already start letting you guys know. Don't forget, if you have clients that are looking to purchase Hometown Heroes, now's the time to apply. They've got, realistically speaking, they've got 11 days by the end of Friday, or the next week Friday, to apply and start looking for homes, because they can start going on a contract in June to close in July. So, if they're looking to already start getting into Hometown Heroes, have them start applying, whether it's with us, another lender, but get them on the ball, get them going. Remember last year, it ended in 2.5 months. It's going to be pretty similar this year. It may last a little bit longer, but it's not going to last the end of the year. All right.
I'm sorry, Mike. Good morning. Quick question. You said 11 days for what, to sign up for Hometown Heroes?
No. So what I'm saying is, like, they'll have 11 days to be able to get the pre-approval and start looking before they can actually go under contract. Usually that contract lasts 30, contract is 30 days, right? So if they go under contract June 3rd, they can close the beginning of July, right? July 3rd as well, that'll be 30 days. They can already start going under contract as in June. Doesn't mean they have to apply within the next 11 days, but if they do, they'll have that time to still be able to go under contract in June or close in July.
Okay, so if they get a pre-approval now and they find a house this week or so, are their lender is doing the application for the Hometown Heroes for July?
Yeah,
Or
all you have
what?
to do is put that closing till July, and we'll take care of the rest. Because the funds
Okay.
the funds become available July 1st, right? So we'll reserve those funds. Technically July 3rd. Wait, what day is July 1st? Let's see. July 1st is a Monday. So yeah, we'll reserve those funds July 1st, and we'll be able to close within that week.
Okay, but the sellers basically have to be in agreement with that if we're gonna try to do it that route.
Yeah, which is why I say it's much easier in June, because it's a standard 30 day. If they go under contract this week, you just have to negotiate to the first week of July.
Okay, got it. Makes sense. Thank you.
No problem. All right, guys. Thank you so much. I'll see you all next week. Anything that you guys need, any questions you have, just give us a call.
Thank you, Mike.
No
Thank you,
problem.
Mike.
Have a good
Thank
one.
you.
Thank you, Mike. Have a good day.
You too.